When the cameras stopped rolling, the screaming didn't. The possession of a Hollywood star wasn't part of a script, it was real. And what happened behind closed doors that night was so horrifying, it was never meant for the public to hear. Part 1. Fame Meets Darkness. Hollywood loves horror. Every year, studios churn out possession movies, creepy haunted house flicks, and tales of demons. Audiences scream, then laugh, then go home safe. But what if one of those stories wasn't fiction? The celebrity at the center of this nightmare was one of the biggest rising stars of the decade. I can't reveal her real name, but I'll call her Elena Carter. She was young, beautiful, and famous for starring in horror blockbusters. Ironically, fans nicknamed her the Queen of Screams in interviews. She laughed about being scared on set. She joked about sleeping fine after filming scenes of demons and exorcisms. But off camera, things were different. Part 2. The First Signs. It began during the filming of a possession movie. Elena had to act out a girl being exorcised, her body contorting, her voice changing, her face twisted in agony. On set, her performance was so convincing that even the director whispered, "It doesn't feel like acting." Crew members swore her voice dropped several octaves on its own. At one point, her wrists bruised as if invisible hands had grabbed her. She laughed it off at first, saying she got too into the role. But when filming wrapped, the strange incidents didn't stop. Elena told friends she woke at 3:15 a.m. every night, drenched in sweat, hearing growling in the dark. Her bedroom lights flickered, and sometimes her reflection in the mirror didn't move when she did. And then came the scratching, not on the walls, on her skin. Part 3. The Public Meltdown. At first, the tabloids spun it as stress. Paparazzi captured Elena stumbling out of her mansion looking pale, eyes sunken, muttering to herself. Then, during a live TV interview, it happened. The host asked her about her latest movie. She smiled politely, but then froze. Her pupils dilated. She stared off camera and whispered, "He's here." The cameras kept rolling as her body jerked violently. Her voice shifted into a guttural growl, spewing words in a language no one recognized. The studio audience screamed as she collapsed, convulsing. The network cut the feed. That clip was never aired again. But insiders who were there swore it wasn't a seizure. It was possession. Part 4. The Priest. After the incident, Elena disappeared from the public eye. Her family, desperate, contacted the church. Father Michael, a priest with years of exorcism experience, agreed to meet her. He later confided to a colleague that the moment he stepped into her house, he knew something was wrong. The temperature dropped instantly. The air smelled of sulfur and decay. And Elena? She wasn't Elena anymore. She sat hunched in a chair, hair disheveled, eyes blackened. When Father Michael entered, she didn't look up, but her mouth twisted into a grin. "Finally," she said in a voice that wasn't hers. "Someone worth playing with." Part 5. The exorcism begins. The church authorized a full exorcism. It took place inside Elena's private home theater, far from the paparazzi. Only a handful of witnesses were present: her mother, her sister, a few assistants, and Father Michael with 2 other priests. They placed her on a reinforced bed, bound for her safety. Candles flickered as prayers began. At first, she screamed obscenities, thrashing violently. Her body arched at impossible angles, her bones cracking with every movement. But then, she began to laugh. A child's laugh, a man's laugh. Hundreds of voices all spilling from her throat, and with every prayer, the walls shook. The theater's screen flickered on by itself. But instead of a movie, it showed the witnesses themselves, seated in the room, watching the exorcism in real time. Only their faces looked burned, melted. Part 6. The demon's name. Father Michael demanded its name. "That's the rule, you can't cast out a demon until it's named." Elena's lips trembled. Then her voice, deep, guttural, spoke a single word. "Asmodeal." The lights shattered. The assistants screamed as the floorboards cracked, smoke rising from the ground. The demon wasn't hiding anymore. It was inside her completely, and it wanted everyone there. Part 7. The Horrors Unleashed. The exorcism lasted hours. Every time the priests prayed, Elena's body levitated off the bed, slamming down with bone-crunching force. Her face shifted, flickering between her own and others, some unfamiliar, some horrifyingly real. At one point, her mother gasped, claiming she saw the face of Elena's dead father staring back at her. The room grew colder. Breath fogged in the air. Shadows moved across the walls, not matching anyone inside. And the worst part, the dolls. Yes, dolls. Lining the theater walls for decoration. They began turning their heads, one by one, watching the ritual with glassy, eager eyes. It was as if the demon was feeding on every fear in the room. Part 8. The final battle. Hours passed. Elena's screams grew weaker, then more violent. The priests shouted prayers, their voices nearly drowned by the roaring wind swirling inside the room. Finally, Father Michael pressed a crucifix to her forehead. She shrieked so loud the lights exploded above them. Smoke poured from her mouth. Her back arched violently, and then silence. Her body fell limp. Everyone held their breath. Father Michael whispered the final words. For a moment, it seemed over. But then, Elena opened her eyes and smiled. You'll never save her. She's mine. The candles blew out. A piercing scream filled the theater, shaking the walls. And then blackness. Part 9. Aftermath. When the lights returned, Elena lay unconscious. Her pulse was weak, but she was alive. The demon was gone, or so they thought. She was rushed to a private hospital, where doctors claimed she was in a coma caused by stress-induced psychosis. That's the official explanation. But those who were in the room knew the truth. Father Michael never performed another exorcism. He retired, his hair turning white in weeks. And Elena? She disappeared from Hollywood completely. No more movies, no more red carpets. Her mansion was sold. Some say she lives overseas, never speaking of that night. But others whisper she never recovered. That sometimes, in mirrors, her eyes still go black. Horrible outro. And so the truth stays buried. The world thinks it was just another celebrity breakdown, another Hollywood casualty of fame. But the truth is darker, because demons don't care about fame. They don't care about wealth. They care about possession. And if it could happen to her, it could happen to anyone. So, the next time you laugh at a horror movie, remember this. Some stories aren't written by screenwriters. They're written by something much older. Something that doesn't stop when the camera's cut. And if you wake up at 3:15 a.m., hearing growls in the dark, don't call for help. Because what answers might not be human.